Bluegrass Mountain home.
I'll refer to my old mountain home with desire. I've been wondering for you.
Welcome to This is Bluegrass. Good afternoon on this Saturday, May 30th, 2026. Everybody applause. Yay. Okay, good for you. Daniel B. here to host today's event. G4V Cav Arts is proud to bring this event featuring our very own cyber chapter. Oops, hang on, let me move my page a little bit. All right, G4V cyber instructor and instrument builder Danny Smith. Say hi, Danny.
Hello.
All right, Danny's a retired Army Master Sergeant, has graduated a few veterans from the G4V cyber chapter program. Also, Danny is a builder and a tinkerer. He loves playing with the crafts. He's built his own mandolins, guitars, and dobro, which is beautiful, Danny. I love that thing. And he's also tinkering with a forge now. And so
and about to build a Telecaster.
Yeah, and working on a telly. He's going to go to the dark side.
The dark side.
So Dan is one of our Renaissance men in our great community here. So Danny's also got a YouTube channel, and that's Danny Smith Music, right?
That's it.
At YouTube. Okay, so today Danny's going to feature Blue Ridge Cabin Home. It's one of the ultimate essential standards in bluegrass music. And I'm going to let Danny say the rest about this. And proceed with yourself, Mr. Smith, please.
All right, everybody. Well, so I'm going to unpin you, Daniel, so that I can...
All done.
I got you. I gotta unpin you from mine so I can. There we go. All right. Okay. So, Blue Ridge Cabin Home. Blue Ridge Cabin Home was actually a song written by Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs' spouses before the band before they were married, and Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs put the music to it and turned it into a bluegrass standard. And I mean, when I say a bluegrass standard, that is probably one, other than some Bill Monroe songs, Blue Ridge Cabin Home is probably an essential bluegrass standard. It's been recorded by Tony Rice. If you look on YouTube and you type in Blue Ridge Cabin Home, Tony Rice's solo is the most transcribed solo in bluegrass, in my opinion, from what I've seen online. That solo that Tony Rice did on the Bluegrass Cabin Home with the Bluegrass Album Band, J.D. Crowe on banjo, Doyle Lawson on mandolin, Tony Rice on guitar, and Jerry Douglas on dobro. I mean, this was the bluegrass band, and so they recorded Blue Ridge Cabin Home, and looking at all of the ranges of the recordings, most of them were recorded in B flat. We're gonna learn it in the key of G, and you could play it in G, A, B flat, B. You can even play it in C out of the G position with your capo up to the 5th fret. Usually beyond the 5th fret, the capo starts to be a hindrance, and it sounds a little high pitched. Even though when you get above that C, it becomes a low-pitched singing song unless you've got this incredible high tenor voice. So we're going to learn it in the key of G, but you can easily play the solo that we learn today or that we work out today in any of those keys by just placing your capo and playing out of the G position. So Tony Rice's solo, I'll kind of give you, I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen to the song, but his solo really was not melody oriented at all. And the Flatt Scruggs, there was no guitar solo. There was a banjo solo, a fiddle solo, and a dobro solo from Josh Graves. And they all were very, very melody oriented. But when it came to this melody, or this song from the Bluegrass Album Band, the solo was not at all. It was very pentatonic, pentatonic major, pentatonic minor oriented. And so this is a slow version. I can't play it at 120 beats a minute. So I'll give you a slow version so you can hear the difference when we actually start the melody. So this was Tony's solo. So that was Tony's solo, nearly note for note. And that was a lot of pressure, and to be able to play it and not mess up, I'm pretty proud of myself. But anyways, so the song, I'll sing through it in the key of G and give you an idea of how the melody actually sounds. So I'll do one verse, I'll do the first verse and one chorus. The song is in the key of G. The chords are G, C, D, and back to G. And there are 4 measures, 8 bars for the verse, 4 measures, 8 bars for the, so there's a total of 8 complete measures in the chorus and in the verse. And the chords are the same. So you'll have 2 of G, 2 of C, or the 4 chord, 2 of D or the 5 chord, and then back to G. And then you'll start all over again. So the song goes like this. There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. And I wandered alone to the place I call home in those Blue Ridge hills far away. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain far away in my Blue Ridge mountain home? And then you go right into the solo from there. So as you can see, the song can be played at a good pace. That was probably about 85, 90 beats a minute. I feel comfortable playing in that range. But if you get in a jam, you're going to be playing in the upwards of 115 to 125. And when you get to that point, you just have to simplify your solo, and I'll show you how to do that. But the first thing you need to know is what is the melody of the song. The melody of the song, and in almost all cases, when it comes to bluegrass, your solo will be over the verse, okay? So if you have a song that has a chorus that sounds different than the verse, you're going to play a solo based on the melody of the verse. And a lot of times you might, if you got a big jam, the person leading the song might say, we're going to take one break in the verse, and then the next person will take a break in the chorus, and then we'll come back and sing from the verse. So, just be prepared for that, but know the melody of the song. In this case, the melody and the verse are really, really close to the same. So once you learn the melody of the song, you've got a break for the verse or the chorus, depending on where you would fall in a bluegrass circle. So the melody. There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside. So on the guitar, it would sound something like... And that's right out of the G major scale. And it could also be out of the E pentatonic minor, because you got that C note in there. But we're going to go right out of the major scale. Down, right down that would be D, G, and that would be the open B. And so, beaten path on the old mountainside. Really simple melody. I'm going to share my screen and show you this tablature that I have made up for this. I think this is going to be it right here. This is the embellished melody. Let me go back here and just share the screen and let me choose. All right. So here is the melody. And everybody could still see me, right? I'm gonna see if I can. Daniel, how do I split the screen to where I am there and everybody could still see me?
Well, they're seeing you right now. That's the best you're going to get.
Okay. All right.
It's Zoom.
So we've got got to pause. So everybody understands this tab and these notes. So we got some eighth notes right here. We've got a quarter note right here. We've got some eighth notes right here and a quarter note here. And so it's a really simple breakdown. Now understand, when you play your eighth notes, normally you would play an alternate picking here. But because we're doing this fairly slow, I'm just going down, down, down. But normally you would pick it. Everybody could see me right there, right? When I go down, down, up, 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 down, 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 up, down. And so it would be really, really important that when you look at this tablature, that you think in alternate picking. All of your quarter notes are downstrokes. All of your numbered, when you're counting on a metronome, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, that's going to be eighth notes. 1 and 2 and. So your ands are your upstrokes. Your numbers are your downstrokes. So this would, if I was going to count out this first measure, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then we go into the next one because you got that quarter note which holds out that and. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Does that make sense? Now if I count it out with all ands, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that's kind of how you would count it out in your head. Now understand that bluegrass is usually played in 16th notes. So it's going to be faster than this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... That's how it's going to be counted out. But I find that eighth notes makes it a lot simpler to learn a melody. And so if you remember in any of the last lessons, I said that your melody is going to start on either the 1, the 3, or the 5 of the scale. Can anybody tell me what this melody starts on? We're in the G scale. What does this start on? Hold up your hands what number you think it is. It's not the 1. It's not the 5. Not the 4. It's either going to be the 1, the 3, or the 5. So the G scale, we got G, A, B, C, D, right? So it starts on the 5. There's a well. So that might, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where I'm starting. And almost every melody you could think of is going to, that rule is going to apply, I'd say 99% of the time. It's going to be the 1, the 3, or the 5. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Are You Sleeping, Brother John? Happy Birthday. Every song has got a starting point on the melody. And the easiest way to think about it is, okay, what key am I in? I'm in G. What's the possibilities that I have? I got 3. 1, the 3, or the 5. There's a well. That's not it. There's my 3. That's not it. There it is. There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside. So, not to belabor that point, but when you're trying to figure out a melody to a song, it's really easy if you just stop and think of those two things. What key am I in? And where does it start? Once you figure that out, you can noodle around to figure out the rest of the melody. So let's go through this melody all together here. And does anybody have trouble reading the tab? Okay, I'm going to play through it. I'm going to play through it really slow. We'll go through this entire melody. And then when we get to the end, I'm going to show you this ending lick. It's a little pentatonic lick, and I'll show you how it goes and how it sounds. So right now, let's go through this nice and slow. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and here we go. 2, 3. And so this ending pentatonic lick, it's a really fun lick. This is more of a Doc Watson lick. Tony used it a little bit, but it's a really good Doc Watson lick, and it goes like this. And it's a G run-ish kind of thing. You can lengthen this. And that's just, I'm just running down the pentatonic scale. And so I'm literally playing the G pentatonic scale with a little blue note added in there, the flat third. That would be your blues scale, your pentatonic scale with a flattened third. It's just that blue note. And then I'm starting it with this. This would be the 7. But in this case, because we just need one measure, it's just a simple. Now there I went from the third up instead of the third down. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3. There's my flatted third. So I'm going my flatted third up or my flatted third down. And so all I'm doing is I'm taking this. There's my two. And I'm just flattening that flatted third to my two, or my flatted third up to my, that would be my third. And so when you're playing a flatted third, you're either going to go one direction. You don't want to go, you're either going to use the flatted third up or the flatted third down. And in this case, we're using the flatted third up and into that open G. So, and that's just my Indian lick. It'd be the same as, fills that same one measure of time. And so when we're playing our song, I started that a little early. You'd have to hold that out before you start into that Indian lick, because you have to keep that count going, or you would have to add a few more notes to your Indian lick. All right, any questions on this melody? Does everybody feel comfortable with the melody? So when we have the melody and we understand what our melody is, I wish I could get rid of this thing right here. There it is. I'm going to move this down here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. There we go. All right. So once we have the melody, we can start adding to this melody, because you notice we got some spots here. But we got a little bit of space because we've got some quarter notes. And when we get to the end of that, we can add a G run. So I'm over here at the end of my, on my fifth bar, I've got a dotted half note, which is going to give me, I've got a 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and right here. I got a dotted half note. So I'm filling up 4 beats here with my count. And I can add a G run in there because that gives me just enough time. So we're going to go all the way this melody until we get to here, and then we're just going to play a G run. Does everybody remember the G run? Anybody not remember the G run? Okay, so I'm going to show you the G run. Your G run begins on the G, and then you're just walking up that scale. That would be all of the notes in a G run. One full measure, all right? So it's a 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 4. Actually, it wouldn't be, it would be a 5, 6, 1. Because it's based on the pentatonic scale, and in the pentatonic scale, we don't have a 4 and we don't have a 7. So we got a 1, a flat 3, or 1, a 2, a flat 3, a 3, a 5, a 6, and a 1. Those are the notes of the G run. But you notice here, we've already got 3 notes into this G run. So I've got to take off 1, 2, and I got to start on my 3rd note to get that G run in there. So I'm going to start right there. Let's go. I'm going to play through this last little bar here, bar 4. So I'm just starting right on that flat third. Flat third, third, 5, 6, pull off, and then open G string. That brings me right back to my key. Does that make sense, everybody? So let's play through this first part of the break up to 5, and then we'll add a G run on that. So it goes like this. And you notice I did my G run a little different that time. Your G run could, you can change your G run up to what you feel at that moment. So you could slide it. All right. So when we get to you notice when I started that, I let my dotted half note hit. And then I started right in there, and I held that out instead of pulling it off. And it just depends on how you feel at the time you're going through. There's no real set, this is the G run. You need to know the notes of the G run and where you can play around with that. You can make the G run sound a little more, add a little more tension to it by adding that 4. Or that would be the flatted 7. Or you can go up to the 4 and take the tension away from that 7. There's a lot of things you can do with these so few notes. You don't need to have a whole ton of notes. And speaking of a whole ton of notes, we're about ready to show some embellishments that you can make using your major scale. And I'm going to go over here because I think that last line is really going to be redundant to go over that again because we've covered the melody. And everything that we play in that second half is exactly what we played in the first half, except for you'll notice that I went up to that D when I did that well-beaten path. And that's just to add a little more interest to the basic melody. But if we go over here, I'm going to move over to my next, that's my embellished melody. Here we go. So this is, I'm going to move this down for just a second. So this is a melody embellished. And we're going to use that same area of the scale. But I'm going to, you notice I'm starting early. When I actually start, I'm starting on that B note. So I'm not starting on my melody note. But when I do my intro to it, I'm starting on the I'm starting on 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I'm coming in. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So I'm starting early in the solo. And the way that would work out if I was singing it, let's see. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain, far away in my Blue Ridge mountain home. And then I'm starting right after my G run. That G run sets me up to. And you notice I'm still playing in my melody when I run down this. I'm still playing my melody notes, but I'm adding more notes from the scale. And you can add different notes, but I'm just giving you an idea of what can be, what's possible. And so I'll play through this real quick so it'll make sense. If I can make that a little bit smaller. There we go. Can everybody see the whole tab? So I'll play through it so you can hear how this melody sounds. I've got quarter notes, and I've got eighth notes, and I've got some half notes. So this is what it'll sound like. And so that is a very notey version of the melody. I call it an embellished melody because all I'm doing is the embellishments that I'm adding are more notes in the scale. Now, that's fun, but it goes so far away from the melody, just like the Tony Rice solo. It's so far away from the melody, even though all these notes are in the melody. I can almost hear the melody in there. Can you hear the melody in there? Anybody hear the melody in there, what I just played? You can hear it a little bit, right? The notes are there, but the notes aren't in the same spot. And that's where there I'm in the D. And now I'm going back to the G. And now I'm back to starting at the second part of the verse. And I'm playing the same thing through. Me personally, when I want to put together a solo, I want to start adding things like slides. Because this note, that B note, where else can you find that on the neck in this first position? It's that fourth fret right there of the G string, right? That's a B note also. So if I'm still getting that same note. And then I can double stop that. All I'm doing is I'm adding a harmony note to that B by adding the D note. What are the notes of my G chord? There's 3 of them. I got a G, a B, and a D, right? So I'm basically playing 2 parts of my G chord when I play that double stop. My melody note goes up to that C. So check this out. There I got that hammer on and I hit my melody note. So I tab this out as a melody-based solo. This is something like I would do. And I even put on there, I'm using double stops. You can see that. I'm using some hammer-ons and pull-offs right here. I'm using some cross-picking. Does anybody know what cross-picking is? So in bluegrass, there's 3 ways to do it. There's the strict alternate picking. That's the way I do it. Tony Rice did down, down, up. And then there's up, up, down, which would be a reverse roll like a banjo picker would do. So when I play a cross pick, I'm going, let me get the right chord. I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So there I did 8 notes to get me all the way through, so that I end up, actually did 12 notes. I did a set of 6 and then another set of 6. But what happens if I only want to cross pick in a smaller section? Well, there's a couple ways I could do that. I can take and add two additional notes to that 6 to get me to my 4. It doesn't matter which notes they are. They could be what would that be? That would be my B and I'm in the key. I'm in D right here, so I'm just adding the top and the bottom of that chord, or the top and the middle, or the middle and the bottom. It doesn't matter which notes I add, just as long as I go 3, 3, 2 to get back. In this case, I'm doing a quarter note before I start my cross pick. So I've already taken those 2 beats, the 1 and then all I got to do is fill 2 and 3 and 4 and before I start walking back down. So what this sounds like, we're going to go all the way up to the cross picking part. I'm lost here. Hold on a second. And then I'm going to set up my cross picking. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions where we're at so far? So I'm going to show you through this solo. We're going to walk through some of the aspects of, yeah, what you got, Paris? Go ahead and unmute. I'm going to try to go ahead, Paris.
So, big picture.
Yep.
This feels like you're really showing us how we could construct our own solos. What are some of the techniques of constructing a solo where you've got space in the song, where you can add notes and stuff like that? Is that what this really is?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you, so I'm giving you 2 options for solos. I'm giving you that embellished melody solo.
Right.
And then I'm giving you this melody-based solo. And then I'm going to show you how I would pick it out, how I would, if I was in a song, if I was in a jam, I'm going to, and I didn't tab this out because I'm just going to try to make something up as we go when we get closer to the end, to give you an idea what my brain would think about when we're playing through something. And it would be my knowledge of some licks that I know and when I could put them in.
Great.
And so this right here, you could use all of these techniques, or you could just use one of them. You could do melody and then add a double stop, melody, add a hammer on a pull off, melody, add a G lick. And so this just gives you a palette from which to choose to put together your own solo. And then what it also does is it starts your mind thinking, okay, I can do this, and I don't have to, this song isn't the only one that I can do this on. I can take these same concepts, especially in bluegrass, because a lot of the bluegrass songs have the same chord structures. And if there is a little bit of a difference, it's just a matter of taking this 1-bar lick and turning it into a half-bar lick, or taking this 2-bar lick and turning it into a 1-bar lick. So yeah, this is just giving you that palette from which to start to build your own ideas. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, once you've got these ideas and techniques, let's say, just say for purposes of argument that I work my fanny off and I have a lot of these techniques and so forth that I can do on the fly, so to speak. That's when you can actually start to just kind of, oh, I'm going to throw one in here, or I'm going to throw one in there, and just kind of pick and choose and kind of make it up as you go. Is that what you're saying? In other words, it isn't just like going home and figuring out a nice solo to play, memorizing the solo, and then you go to the gig and you just play that exact memorized solo. It's more like I like your word palette. It's more like a palette of these little mini licks, mini techniques almost of
Right.
embellishing this.
That's exactly right, and it was very, very eloquently spoken. That's exactly what the point that I want to get. You're learning these techniques, and there's many, many more. You know, of things that you can do that can work in a specific situation.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
It did. That was great. Thank you.
All right, so I'll play through this solo here. I'll try to play through what I got written as close as I've got it written, so you can hear it, and then we'll talk about some of the techniques, and I'll answer some questions on that. So here we go. That was that last bit right there, with just a little G lick. And if you notice that G lick that I just played, sounds a lot like this. It's all in that same area of the pentatonic. If you wanted to have minor pentatonic, same thing. 2-measure G lick. Instead of using the major pentatonic, I'm using the minor pentatonic in that same position. All right. So, questions on any of these techniques? These licks, I guess these licks would be. So I've got a G lick. And all that is, it's a walk down of my basically my G scale. I'm just walking down that G scale, and then once I get to my root, I'm walking right back up with a G run, just a standard G run. Any questions from what you see here, any questions on any of these licks? Nobody? If you got a question, unmute and throw that question out there, and then we could talk through some of these things.
Danny,
any time with the music?
What's that?
Just need some time with the music so I can get it under the fingers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't expect anybody here. If you rip through this today, I'm going to be so impressed, and I'm going to put you on my YouTube channel and say, "Hey, check this guy out." But you know, I can't even play these things. I've got one thing that I play in my mind, and then I try to add a few things to it. A lot of these things, I'll do that. And you know, so that was a pretty simple variation of what I just did there. I didn't do the cross picking and I didn't do the G lick, but I did the double stops and I did the hammer-ons and pull-offs. So I took for that first section right there from my entry into the solo, I did the double stops. I did some basic hammer-ons for the C so you could hear the melody, and then when I went to the D, I played the melody right down to my G run. And I played my melody out of my D chord. And I just played the top half of that D chord. I'm playing my A and my D. And that's right out of the D scale. I'm just playing out of that chord, and I'm using the notes of the D scale, and there's a lot of that is in common with the G scale as well. All those notes that I played are the G scale, but I thought of them out of the D scale because I was playing from that D chord. Does that make sense? But that note, that's in my G. That's my F sharp. And then, so I played right down my G scale, or in the way I was thinking was my D scale, right down to the G, and did my G lick. And so you could take these simple things and put them in based on, I can't cross pick at 120 beats a minute, so I'm not going to play a cross picking lick. I'm going to play a hammer on, because I could play that at 115, 120 beats a minute. Anything that's really notey, I'm not going to play it. So any questions on this so far? No questions. Man, you guys are...
I was going to ask about
Why don't
cross-picking
you
and economy picking.
unshare for a minute, Danny?
What's that?
Can you unshare for a minute? And
I can, yeah, absolutely.
There we go. There we are. What were we going to say, Gene? Go ahead.
Difference in cross-pick and economy picking, but it brings up the other point. These are so much better than live, because I can play you back at 50% speed or 25, whatever.
Right,
but anyways,
right.
Thanks for doing these. That was really cool, or is really cool.
So
economy picking versus cross-picking.
So I don't know much about economy picking, because that's more of a rock realm. But you don't see a lot of economy picking in bluegrass. What you're going to see in bluegrass is you're going to have, you look at just about anybody out there. There's this I got to tell you this really funny joke that I heard from Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith is, I don't know if anybody knows who Kenny Smith is. He's Kenny and Amanda Smith band, but he played with the Lonesome River Band back in their bluegrass heyday, and he's a phenomenal guitarist. And if you don't know who Banjo Ben is, Banjo Ben, he's got a website, does a lot of YouTube videos. He had Kenny at one of his camps, and they were talking about economy picking, because Kenny Smith uses economy picking to a sense. He doesn't do strict alternate picking. And Ben looked at him and said, How many albums, or how many bluegrass guitarist awards have you won since you started using this economy picking? And Kenny looked at him and said, none. He said, I think that's your problem, Kenny. So, the alternate picking, it is so important to really focus on that alternate picking, because when you start playing at speed, when you start getting up to 130, 140 beats a minute, I don't know if I'll ever get to there, but I know if I try to play something at 80 beats a minute, 90 beats a minute, and I don't use strict up and down picking, and my pick stroke gets off, I am not going to be able to keep up with the speed, and I'm not going to be able to get to the note I need to. It really makes a lot of sense, and the alternate picking should never change. If you do a hammer on, I'm going to give you an example. Okay. Watch my pick hand as I play through. I'm just going to play this this thing that we just did. I'm going to play that lick all the way down, and I'm going to my alternate picking never stops, even though I don't hit the string when I do a pull off. So it looks like this. Watch my picking. I'll do it slow.
Okay.
You see, I ended on a downstroke.
Pick. Yeah, you ghost pick.
Yeah, ghost pick. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay.
And so think about that when you're cross picking. You're just employing that alternate picking. Now, I'm not saying you have to do alternate picking. You can do, in a cross picking situation, Tony would do something like this. He would go down, down, up. I can't do it, but that I could do. And what you can do is you can hold a chord. Doesn't matter what chord. Right now I'm holding a D chord, D as in dog, and I'm playing the top of my D, and then I'm playing that I guess that would be the what note is that? That's the F sharp. That's my D, E, F sharp. That's my third.
Three.
Yep. So I'm just gonna go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So I'm going down, up, down, and then I'm skipping back up to my top string again, and I'm hitting it with an upstroke. And you can get that with your metronome. Get your metronome going at, I like to put my metronome at like 120 and then count, but I'm not playing that fast. I'm counting, instead of counting, so I'm basically playing at, if I'm doing 120, I'm playing it at 60. So I'm doing one, and my ands are on the beat. My ands aren't on the beat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I could show you, let me pull up the metronome here real quick so you can hear what I'm actually talking about when I say this. So if I put my metronome on 60, everybody can hear the metronome?
Yes.
So I got a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now if I put my metronome on 120 and I count the same thing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and instead of doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm cutting that in half. So I put my metronome on 60 or on 120 and I play a pick stroke on every beat. So it sounds like this. Versus trying to keep up with that metronome at that speed. Does that make sense to everybody?
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions?
Well, as long as you're there, I got one more. Where'd you get
Yes.
that tab program or app?
So that's Guitar Pro 8. Hey, Dan, I'm going to mute you for a second.
You what? I was going to say, I keep switching to Danny.
Sorry. I'm
That's
not
all right.
muted?
No, you're not.
Oh,
What were you thinking?
All right. So, yeah, it's called Guitar Pro 8. And
Okay, thank
if you look online, you could find, you can usually find coupons for it. So you can get it 10, 20% off. It's worth, I think I paid $50 for it. It's worth every penny. It's a learning curve, but it's fun. All right, guys. So
Cheers.
let me look at the chat here. Cross picking, strict down, up, economy, do what flows. Next note is adjacent, down, down works fine. Yeah, exactly, Paris. So that economy picking, that is great when you're playing rock stuff where there's no, rock is usually not, I don't want to say it's usually not following a melody. It's following, they're playing within a pattern and they're playing whatever comes to mind. Same with blues. It's not, there's not necessarily a melody, and where bluegrass comes from, this tradition of the fiddle tune, where the fiddler played the melody, and this old time music, the guitar player, they were just a rhythm person, and the fiddlers would play the melody. They were singing the song with their fiddle, and so when players like Doc Watson came around, Doc Watson was a very, very strict, he played the melody very well, and he played it very well, very fast. And he was able to take the melody and make you hear the melody while still playing all these crazy licks with it. And then Tony Rice came along and he followed along after Clarence White. And he added a lot more blues to it. So that's where you get that pentatonic major, pentatonic minor feel in a lot of his solos. And but don't get me wrong, when you listen to Tony play some fiddle tunes, and that guy could take a fiddle tune and play the melody like nobody else and still incorporate his feel of the pentatonic major, pentatonic minor scales. And it's just a thing it's such a beautiful thing to listen to. Listen to, when you get a chance after this, go listen to something like Gold Rush with Tony Rice. Great song. It's a very... just a great song. And he plays that melody very well, and then he takes it up the neck, and it's just so good. But listening to music is a great way to understand the melody, especially if you're doing a singing song. Because a lot of times when people play a solo to a singing song, they don't play the melody. They're just playing a lot of notes. And you could tell the difference between a person that plays a lot of notes really fast versus a person that tastefully takes that melody and makes it sound like music. And it's great. So yeah, I got a little kitten. We got an 8-week-old kitten, and she's chewing on my legs. So I'm trying really hard to hold it together. But anyways, so back to our share here. And I'm going to go over here. This is where we're at with we got our cross picking. And then I just got a quarter note walk down to get to my G chord, where I'm going to play a little G lick. And now I'm right back where I started. And there I'm in my next note, and I'm about to do a C lick. So I'm walking down that little C lick. So that is the backwards half of my G run with my, that backwards half of my G run with my C chord. So I'm playing a C run. I'm just taking that and taking it backwards to that open D note because I'm going to the D chord. So I hit that D on my D chord, and then I'm just going to do a little D lick. And then and now I'm going to set myself up to get into the G. And that's where I ended up with my little G run. So taking that and walking that into a back to get back to my chord and finish up my lead. Now, when you listen to this with the music, this goes a little longer than the 16 bars, 17 bars that would be in the song. So that little bit of a lick afterwards, there's a full measure longer than normal, and you're going to see that a lot in bluegrass. They'll end that with a G run or a little lick, and then they'll finish out a verse before or a measure before they start back into singing. And a lot of times, you'll finish off a song where it's like. And then they'll start singing. So I did a full measure. And this little extra bit is getting into that full extra measure. And I know this because I was playing it with Strum Machine, and I was playing it with just the melody verse and not the solo section that I created. And when I finished my G run, I was already halfway through the first part of the next verse. So I'm already behind. So I have a program. It's called Strum Machine, and everybody could see this Strum Machine, right? So this is your song. This is Blue Ridge Cabin Home, and that's what you would sing on the verse and chorus. And you got 2 of G, 2 of C, 2 of D, 2 of G, 2 of G, 2 of C, 2 of D, 2 of G. Now the solo has got one extra measure. And that one extra measure, that's going to be bar 17 of that 16 bars. And so if you look on that, on this, I've got a 17 here. This is where that extra length comes in. Does that make sense? And so this is more along the lines of what a solo would actually be versus this one that is strictly 16 bars. All right? So that gives you an idea of how this is going to lay out in a bluegrass perspective. You're going to be seeing the 16 bars, but they're gonna give you leeway. If you go just a little bit longer, I guarantee you the band is going to be. And they're just going to be waiting for you. You might be doing this. And they're just going to wait for you. And that's what I love about bluegrass is it's very organic, and you could sit down with a group of people who play bluegrass, and you could play with them like you were a seasoned band. This is no joke. If you've never been to a bluegrass jam, you could sit down with people that you've never met before, and you could say, let's play Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of G, and they'll play it with you, and you'll think you've been in this band for 30 years. And that's what is so great about it. It's unbelievable. If I challenge any of you, if you're anywhere close to a bluegrass jam, go watch one. And just stand on the outside and watch these people. They'll be in a circle. They're people they've never met before. And you'll have a bass player. You'll have a banjo player, maybe a couple banjo players, a couple fiddle players, a couple mandolin players, a couple guitar players. And everybody will take turns playing a solo. You might play a song like Blue Ridge Cabin Home. And if you got 15 people in your group, and you'll sing a verse, and if there's 3 verses in the song, you got 15 people, and 10 of them want to take a lead. Through every solo, at least 2 people are going to take a break, and you might play this. You're just playing that rhythm the whole time, and then when it comes to you, you got your 0.1% of this song that you get to play a solo in. So when we go back and look at the very beginning of this bluegrass series, the rhythm guitar is very, very important. So I don't want to lose sight of that. But understanding how to make a solo, I think, is such a key thing to know. All right. Any other questions before I show you? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I would play it at a tempo, say 100 beats a minute, and I'll use the strum machine, and I'll see if I can get it to work. And I'll play it pretty quietly, just so you can get an idea of how I would play through something off the top of my head. I've got ideas that I would want to use, but they might be too fast for me, like something like this. That was just something that, using some licks that I know at the end there. That's a little Doc Watson lick. And then just a walk down of that D pentatonic. And now I'm in the G pentatonic. And so those are kind of some of the things that when I'm practicing, I'll sit and try to think of ways that I can add to this solo. But I'll always start with a melody. Where's my melody, and how can I access it throughout the key, throughout my fingerboard? So questions, guys. Anybody want to unmute and ask another question?
Is there somewhere to download the tab that you have made?
Yeah, Daniel's going to post that when he posts the recording. He'll post it in the comments.
Perfect.
And there's three versions of the tab that he'll post. He'll post the melody version, the embellished eighth note melody, and the one that's using all the licks. And you could take those three, the combination of those three, and throw together a decent solo, I think. That's how I would do it. And like I said, I'll show you with Strum Machine to kind of give you an idea of how I would play it using some concepts from what we saw. Any other questions? Man, you guys are just so easy. Make it so easy for me. All right, so I'll try to play through something on Strum Machine. I'm going to try to get my microphone so that you can hear the Strum Machine versus my guitar. Can you hear that? Coming through pretty good, and with my guitar. Here we go. So that's just a kind of a basic playthrough. That was at 80 beats a minute, so I felt comfortable going up and doing the little lick. But if it was faster than that, if we were at let's say 105 beats a minute, something like that. You know, it gets a little uncomfortable, and you can see the tension building up. And I'm working on that speed.
That's great.
So I'd like to, Daniel, do I have time to share some of these speed things that we were talking about earlier? You there, Daniel? Uh-oh.
If you can make it 10 minutes.
Easily. I can make it in 5 minutes. So I've been doing some, and you can use some of the things on this, but the scales are the easiest way to do this. Speed bursts. Take a song, learn a fiddle tune. There's a fiddle tune. We did Old Joe Clark. We did. You could do something like Clinch Mountain Backstep. Just anything. You could take a lick, and I've been using these drum tracks that I sent last week. I think I sent a link to it last month, and these drum tracks that play these brush strokes, like almost like a train beat, and or a metronome. You can use your metronome, and you set your metronome at, find your comfortable speed. If I could play a lick like, or let's just do a 5-note pattern. Down, up, down, up, down. So I'm just using that 5-beat pattern, and I'm going to go to my metronome, and so you can do it. I'm going to do it at 100 beats a minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But I got to count it in 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And so I'm just using these little things as a speed burst. And surprisingly, that felt a lot easier than just yesterday. Yesterday, I was struggling at 100, and I was, getting some bum notes. And you get this, you go through these speed bursts. Pick a song that you're trying to learn. Don't try to play the whole song. Take this solo that we just did. Don't try to play the whole solo. Take 5 notes of it. Take 6 notes of it. Take 3 notes of it. That embellished one that we did. And just take 3 of those notes. 3, 4, 5. And then set your metronome at 100. And to give you an idea how that would sound, this is 16th notes at 100 beats a minute. This is 200 beats a minute. And just take those 5 notes, only play those 5 notes, play it for 5 minutes, and then play the next 5 notes. And then be done with your speed. I usually do it at the end of my practice. I'll whatever I'm practicing, I try to learn a fiddle tune. I was trying to learn that to Gold Rush. That sounds really similar to what we were just playing, did it not? It just adds a few more notes. And because it's in the key of G. And that's where the melody is. And so I'll take that first part of that, those first 5 notes, or 7 notes there, and I just play that over and over again. At the end of my practice, when I'm not worried about anything else, I'm not thinking what's next, I'm thinking I'm going to play through this, I'm going to get through it 10 times without messing up, and if I don't get through it 10 times without messing up, I got to start over. And you could do that, or you could just say, I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes, and I'm going to do just these 5 notes at 100 beats a minute for 5 minutes, and then practice is done. And then I don't think any more else about it. That is a great way to build speed. And getting that alternate picking, make sure that's clear. Don't do it with something you don't know. And don't make too many notes, because if you make too many notes, then you're going to mess them up, and then you're going to build bad muscle memory habits. So take the smallest chunk of music that you can, put it at a speed that you are uncomfortable with, and if you have to back it up just a little bit, back it up so you can play it clean, and then speed it up. Put yourself in an uncomfortable zone and force yourself to get better at that speed. And that's going to be the best way to build speed. And I learned it from Jake Workman. I did a month-long Zoom thing with him, and it was eye-opening. And there's so many things that have helped me to get faster that I've noticed. I did it in what was that? We're in May, so I did it in April, whole month of April, and then I've been practicing all those concepts in May, and I see a huge difference. A solo that I could only play at 85 beats a minute, I could play at 100 now, and that's all is strictly from doing those small things. So you're at it, Dan. Guys, I thank you for your time, spending Saturday with me. And next month, I think I'm going to do a song in the key of C. I just haven't decided which one it is. Maybe How Mountain Girls Can Love, or something like we'll play it in the key of C. Rank Stranger. It's a slower song by the Stanley Brothers. And yeah, we'll do Rank Stranger. Have your capos ready because it's in the key of E, but I play it out of the C position. and we'll learn the intro to Rank Stranger. And that's another bluegrass song. If you've heard it before, I wandered again to my home in the mountain, and it's got that part. Everybody I met. It goes way up there. We'll learn the intro of that song. It's an old George Suffler song, so there's a lot of cross picking in it. It's really fun.
Awesome.
You're up, Dan.
Oh, hey, cool. The handoff's been done. Any more questions, comments, anything, anybody? No? Of course, we can still stay on after we're done. I'll keep the channel open. I just won't be recording anymore. So, anyway, thank you all for being a part of This is Bluegrass. Guitar for Vets is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to providing relief to struggling veterans through the healing power of music and community. Since 2007, Guitar for Vets has served at-risk United States veterans impacted by PTSD and other service-related trauma. Through our unique 10-week structured program, putting the healing power of music in the hands of our nation's heroes, helping to foster renewal, connection, and community. And I'm all choked up now. On behalf of Danny and myself, be well and keep on strumming, everyone.
Safe travels.